Grassroots efforts do work, and they do bring about change, and it just takes somebody that's willing to try.
The love that comes out of this group of people, I don't consider it an event. I consider it like a family reunion almost, because the people are so close.
I think if I'd have quit along the way, I'd have felt like I'd have been quitting family. And I think I would have felt like I had given up.
Yeah, we can't give up on them. This is something they live with day after day after day.
What we're doing here is finding a cure for cystic fibrosis. We're making a difference.
We used to be involved with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and when we moved to Flower Mound, we met our neighbors, Dave and Kim Anderson, and their daughter, Megan Anderson, had just been diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. They approached us and asked us if we would be interested in raising funds for CF research. So we talked about it. We met with the foundation in Dallas, and they were short $50,000 that year. So I called Eric. He was out of town.
Of course, I was on board with it. We had been involved with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it was extremely rewarding to us. We'd committed to each other after we heard a 10-year-old boy speak at one of the events with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He talked about how the foundation didn't just give him one wish, they continued to give back. And he talked about that night, if he was granted one more wish, his wish would be that he would be around another year. And we kind of looked at each other at that point and said, you know what, as long as we're able to give back and hope that some other mother or child doesn't have to wish that they'll be around another year, that we would give back.
So we love to entertain and we love wine. So we thought, well, let's see if we can find a donor for the food and wine. And if we can do that, then we can just ask our neighbors to come to this party and raise funds for CF research. Kim Anderson introduced me to Megan Evanick, and Megan and I met and we put a game plan together of how we were going to raise money for cystic fibrosis and how we were going to meet the goal of $50,000. She was instrumental in knowing so many people in the neighborhood. And then she also had a real knack for how to raise money in an auction. So we started soliciting. The big joke was every time we went anywhere, we would ask the person if they would give a donation. And that kind of is how the wine opener evolved and how we never were afraid to take no for an answer.
That first year, we really didn't know people in the Flower Mound area, so what did we do? We reached out to our neighbors, and our neighbors were chairs for different positions, and I think we had half of Pack Saddle Street that was on the event that year, and we walked across the street, and Corey Strange was our neighbor at the time. We sat down actually just in our backyard, had a drink with him one night and talked to him about being a sponsor and how we needed, a key sponsor to help us set the stage for the fundraising and everything else. And Corey didn't bat an eye, and the Strange family, Joe and Scott and Chris and everybody has just been on board since day one.
We were invited to the first wine opener, and after going through and meeting the families and the people with CF convinced us that this is the top charity as far as our family is concerned.
We got involved from very early on. Eric Welke showed up at our house and asked if we had some wine we wanted to donate to an event he was running. And from there, it just sort of mushroomed.
Jill asked me to be a part of the CF North Texas Wine Opener as a volunteer, and I firmly told her no. And she gently persuaded me that this was a great opportunity to make a difference, and I said yes.
The first year, it was probably just a handful of volunteers, and I don't even remember how many people, but I think we raised around $75,000. And since 10 years have passed, the community's grown, and the event has grown with the community.
Not only did we enlist our neighbors, but my parents too. They live here in Highland Village, and they were on board financially, but then emotionally, and they became chairs. We just asked them to host a check presentation party, a kickoff party, to be a chair of the wine pool, whatever the need was, they always said yes. And that was really great to make it a family affair. And then, as time went on, Cynthia Funderburk helped start the Lemonade Pals with our kids, Jacob Funderburk and Jay, and they just started on a corner.
This event, the first few years, was just the event itself. But then after we started the Lemonade Pals, it grew. There's been events at the schools to raise money, and between lemonade and kids bringing change and dollar bills to school, we've raised tens of thousands of dollars through that.
We're involved with CF because we have a child that was born with CF and diagnosed at the age of 2 months. We lived with it for 15 years now and have seen a lot of changes. And of course, we're still looking for that final day when we can celebrate the cure.
We became involved when we saw the article in the newspaper about the event and had decided to go check it out. And we've attended every year since then.
I think with the North Texas Wine Opener, one of the main priorities is to keep expenses low. So I think that that's important to recognize.
It was about the 4th or 5th year into the event, and got a call, and it was Ed Kukul. And he said, I've been reading about your event in the paper and following it for the last few years. And I work for Moet Hennessy, and I'm reaching out to you because we want to help you guys and we want to donate all of the wine for your event. I was floored. I was so excited. It was such a God thing to have someone reach out to us, to know that that could have been a big expense, and his company was willing to underwrite it. So that was great. And Morris Salerno started doing the food for our event in 2008, and Morris and Ed are good friends, and it's just amazing how all of the dots are connecting to make it is what it is today.
We've come up with some pretty creative ways to raise money. One of the things that really sticks out in my mind is the pizza party, which I can't tell you how many times has been sold.
2004, Carol Carter asked us to donate a pizza party, something that we had done in our house, socially in the neighborhood, for charity for cystic fibrosis. And the first year, we decided to go ahead and donate it, and we had the idea that we would throw in a case of wine. And the first year, we ended up selling 3 of these pizza parties. And every year since then, for 10 years, we've sold between 1 and 3 pizza parties per year. So over the 10-year period, we have sold probably 25 pizza parties. And we've probably raised now $100,000 for cystic fibrosis.
Another key person that helped us get where we are with our fundraising efforts has been Gary and Kathy Pennincuff. They were good friends with the Strange family, and he started out and took our event to the next level. Instead of just having the neighbors and friends auction off items, he got up on the stage and captured every single person in the room and raised the roof, and it was wonderful. Unfortunately, Gary passed away several years ago, and we really didn't know if we were going to be able to continue with the level of fundraising that we had in the past.
Just been 8, let's go.
Thankfully, Boyd Earp, he also worked with Gary, and he's been able to pick up where Gary left off and continue with our fantastic live auction.
Sold it, 7,900 two-time. Buyer, what's your buyer number now? Give her a round of applause. 194. What's your buyer number?
I think the biggest thing that sticks in my mind in these last 10 years, transforming that barn into a show place.
Welcome to Flower Mound Equestrian Center. We're very glad you're all here. We've had a wonderful time getting ready for this terrific event. We spent about 20 hours pressure washing this barn, so we've cleaned it up and we're ready to have a great time.
On behalf of all the volunteers, all of the chairs, Pete Delkus, and the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, we want to thank you all.
When you're talking about the volunteers for the North Texas Wine Opener, I think the one thing to point out is that they do everything. They're soliciting auction items, they're getting the sponsors, they're working hand in hand with Jill and Eric, and if it weren't for the volunteers, this event would not be successful.
We were the lead sponsors, Strange & Coates, CPAs, with our building at the Royal Affairs Ballroom. We realized the need to furnish a facility, and we thought it would be a great idea to do so.
Being a part of CF has changed how I am as a mom. It's also impacted my life because I've met some amazing, strong, inspiring, wonderful people that are involved with this event. I have made friends that I've laughed with and cried with, and we have really become a close-knit group, both with volunteers and with the people who come and support this event every year.
People we met early on in the wine opener was Debbie Bowerly, a CF patient. And she was amazing. Obviously struggling with the illness, not knowing where that was going to take her, but she also was a volunteer, and she was a chair. And I remember every year Debbie was so concerned to be sure that everybody that had done anything, whether they volunteered, donated money, that they all got a thank you note from her. And we miss her.
Remember me in a Bible cracked and faded by the years. Remember me in a sanctuary filled with silent prayer.
When you look back over 10 years, there's 14 plus families that we have met in our area. And before we started the wine opener, we didn't know anyone with CF. And that's been a true blessing to us to involve so many people. We have 30 plus chairs that work on the event, and 28 of them have no affiliation with cystic fibrosis, and we have 100 plus volunteers, and that goes to the same with them. So all of these families have touched our lives, and hopefully they've touched all the people each year in the audience, and more than anything, they've brought an awareness to the community that we didn't have before.
Ocean, I'm ankle deep. I feel the waves crashing on my feet. It's like I know where I need to be, but I can't figure out, I can't figure out just how much air I will need to breathe when your tide rushes over me. There's only one way to figure out. Will you let me drown? Yeah, will you let me drown? And hey now, this is my desire. Consume me like a fire, 'cause I just want something beautiful to touch me. I know that I'm married, 'cause I am down on my knees and waiting for something beautiful. And the water is rising quick, and for years I was scared of it. We can't be sure when it will subside, so I won't leave your side. No, I can't leave your side. Hey now, this is my desire. Consume me like a fire, 'cause I just want something beautiful to touch me. I know that I'm married, 'cause I am down on my knees and waiting for something When you try your best but you don't succeed. When you get what you want but not what you need. When you feel so tired but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse. And the tears come streaming down your face. When you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone but it goes to waste. Could it be worse? Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. Tears stream down your face when you lose something you cannot replace. Tears stream down your face, and lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you.
We have come to know and love those that we've met, Bob and Nita, Colin and Diane. They just become such a big part of us that, you know, we can't help but continue to be involved in this and help them in any way we can.
Certainly we've given our time and we've given our money. We've hosted the event a couple of years, but we've gotten so much more back in return.
And for us, it has been unbelievably rewarding. I mean, we really couldn't believe that it would be possible that a hobby like cooking could generate so much money for such a worthy cause.
So 8 years later, I have learned about the disease, and I have come to know the families, and I feel a part of that CF family now. And I'm rooting for, and I'm praying for, and I am rolling up my sleeves for, and sometimes grieving for the families with CF, the mothers and the brothers and sisters and friends impacted by this disease.
Over the last 10 years, we've got to meet a lot of great people that have been involved in this event, and we'd like to thank each and every one from the bottom of our heart, the sponsors, the chairs, the underwriters, the donors, and all the attendees that come to this event. Without all of y'all and all your commitment, we wouldn't be where we're at. And it is definitely making an impact on CF.
I will take away from this event a lot of great memories, a lot of great friends, and a lot of hope for the event to raise money for CF.
You never know what's going to happen. You never know the impact you might have on somebody. What started with a conversation with our neighbors, got Jill and I talking. We committed to doing this for 10 years or $1 million, whichever came first. We crossed the $1 million line in 5 years, and so we went for 2. We crossed that milestone, $2 million last year. We're headed for 2.5 this year. It's just really been a great ride.
We're going to miss this event so much. We're going to miss, I know you guys are not going to miss my emails, but I'm going to miss seeing everybody all the time. But I know that there's hope out there. I know that fundraising will continue for the cystic fibrosis cause. So whereas when we started this event, the life expectancy for someone with CF was 30, and it's now 41. And that is an amazing accomplishment. So if we can just continue giving back, we'll find a cure.
We can